Good morning. Good morning. Had a couple extra minutes here so I thought, hey, why not jump into the group and just share a quick technique for the day. In case this is your first time seeing me, my name is Coach Allan Galang. I'm a professional neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, also well versed in clinical hypnosis, and I specialize in helping to transform emotions, feelings, negative feelings, and helping melt those down into something more positive, something more useful, something that gives us better control over our life. And for today, I just wanted to drop in a quick line. Again, just pulling over my notes here so I don't go over too much, because I have a tendency to do that sometimes. And today I wanted to talk about what is a useful tool, another useful tool that we can use to control our negative emotions. I'm not talking about, taking months and years, but I'm talking about literally days or hours, minutes, or even seconds to transform the way we feel from something negative, like anger, into something more useful, like staying calm, like being enthusiastic, like being curious. Now, a lot of people don't know how to do this, but there are a lot of other people that do. And one of the techniques I keep referring to here that I want to share with you today is something that we use in neuro-linguistic programming called reframing. It's called reframing. It's a reframing technique. Now, pulled up my notes so I don't go on too long about it. Let me explain what is reframing. Reframing in NLP, it's like looking at a picture in a new way by changing the frame around it. When you change the frame, you might see the picture differently. In NLP, reframing means changing how you think about something to change how you feel about it. It can help you turn a negative thought or a situation into something more positive, or at least something that's less upsetting. So that's what it is. You might be wondering, well, how do I use it? Well, here's a quick example. So number one, imagine that you're going through a situation, right? Any kind of situation. Say you're it's usually revolving communication with someone that doesn't usually turn towards our favor. So let's say you're talking to someone and there's something that they said. Step number one, identify the negative thought. First, notice when you're having a negative thought or feeling angry. It's important to catch these feelings early. For example, if someone interrupts you when you're talking, you might start off by feeling angry and by thinking, hey, they just disrespected me. Like, don't disrespect me, right? A lot of people feel that way when they get cut off during a talk. Step number two, if that happens, you immediately want to change the frame or change the way that you're perceiving their action. So how you do that is that you change the way you think about the situation. You ask yourself questions. Again, asking questions is key because that's how your subconscious works. And all the automatic responses come from subconscious, not from conscious. So ask yourself questions like, well, what could this mean? Or how can I look at this moment differently? Use the examples above, and you might think maybe they're really excited about what they want to share. Or maybe they just didn't realize they interrupted me. That is true, because I've also been guilty of that. And other people have also made the mistake and been guilty of it as well. And in some cases, we both said to each other, oh, like, I didn't realize it. I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Right? Step number three, choose a positive reaction. So finally, choose a response that's more positive or constructive. Instead of getting angry, you might say, I can see that you're excited to share your thoughts. Let me finish what I'm saying, and then I want to hear all about yours. This way, you're turning a potentially negative conflict into a respectful exchange, right? So, in short, here's a quick example of how I've been able to use this for some of my clients. One of my clients, I talked about her recently, she was having issues with her mom in particular. And she'd noticed that just by walking into the room, the moment her mom even gave her a particular look or said anything in a particular tone, what she realized is that she would get triggered. She'd get triggered to just get mad, get angry. And she didn't quite understand why. In working with the client, what I discovered is that she was getting negatively triggered, like instant angry, because the look that her mom gave her and the tone that her mom sometimes used was in direct connection to an experience she had way back before she was even 10 years old. Of course, not everyone remembers that far back. That's embedded in the subconscious mind, and that's something that Helen and I do to help people recall certain memories that have been forgotten. So during that process, we discovered that at age 4 years old, her mom had mistakenly said something to her that accidentally made her feel vulnerable. It made her feel like she was not loved, not cared for. And through the exercise, she had realized, oh my God, like my mom didn't mean to make me feel that way. She just was reacting because she was getting pressure from the outside, from something else. And she just came off that way, said it that way. But now looking at it from the other side of the coin, she said, I'm now realizing that's really not what my mom meant at all. And because that was hardwired, the new belief got hardwired into her mind, again, using the reframe technique, what she managed to do for herself is she was able to not only see that experience from a different light in a different way, but now it's so embedded in her mind that every single time her mom gives her that particular look and uses that particular tone, instead of my client getting angry, instead what she does is she said this. She said, Allan, the first time, after we did the session, when my mom spoke to me again, when I saw her about a week later, I felt it, Allan. It was like there it was. The anger was just starting to rise. But something in me happened where after a couple of seconds, all of a sudden it just kind of went down. And I saw my mom for the first time as someone who was just doing her best. She was trying to communicate with me, but she comes from a different time in her life. And the stress that she's putting out of her mouth isn't her trying to put me down. She said, Allan, what I noticed is that my mom was just trying so hard with the limited resources that she has. Mom being English second language, my client being English first language. You could only imagine what the barrier of communication might look like or might sound like. And it's been beautiful because ever since that time of doing the work with her, which was literally only about 2 months ago, maybe a little bit less, what she now notices is that, well, let me tell you what she said. She said, Allan, every time I talk to my mom, I actually enjoy her for the first time. She said, I have not been able to say I enjoy my mom's presence for over 30 years. Like that's pretty remarkable. She also said that she now has a newfound appreciation for her mom because every time her mom does something or says something that would normally trigger her, all she sees is this woman that she calls her mother, who's just trying her best to build a bond, build communication, to have some sort of conversation with her daughter, but is limited in her ability to communicate because she doesn't speak a lot of English and my client doesn't speak a lot of Korean. So it's challenging. Most of the communication was more so through the dad. And she said ever since that time, now it's like before she would only see her mom once every few months because that's all she could really stand. But now she says, I actually want to see my mom every few weeks because I know she's getting older. And I don't know how much more time I have with her while she still has energy, while she's still alive, while she's still able to enjoy my daughter, which is her grandchild. And it was really beautiful because in closing, she even said to me, she said, Allan, it's really something because now when I have these little outbursts with my own daughter, she said, I now see my own daughter differently as well because the way I saw my mom before made me realize I only saw one side of the coin. So when my daughter now acts out in a certain way, when I communicate with her, now I actually have to check myself to say, well, how am I expressing this? Like, how am I getting through to her? Or am I saying it in a way that just makes her feel bad? No, like her daughter's a young child. It would be different if they were both adults. Then she would probably ask to share that responsibility of communicating and understanding. But when the child is so young, they don't have that foresight yet. They don't have the knowledge or experience to understand how to do reframing. So when dealing with a kid, the reframing is all on her, on my client. And she said, it's so cool because, me and my daughter will still have disagreements, but at the end, we can resolve it faster. At the end, there's no grudges. When it's over, it's over in a few hours or in a few minutes, not days and weeks like how it used to be, or even months, which literally means that she's able to preserve her relationship with her daughter, improve her relationship with her mom, and basically improve her own life, because now she's not carrying the burden of anger that she had regarding her mom and even with her daughter. But instead, she found a level of peace inside of herself, because now the things that used to trigger her are no longer there. And she's replaced anger and expectation with a level of understanding, love, and appreciation that she even gets a chance to talk to her mom still. And she has the opportunity to deepen the bond between her and her daughter. So that wraps it up for today. Ooh, look at that, 11 minutes. I'm getting better at this. If you got any questions or comments, please let me know. Let me know if this has been helpful for you, to you, because that's really all I'm here for. I want to take the time to try to spread some love and try to help you get to the other side. If you were like me, somebody who was just constantly angry and needed a way to figure it out, to improve my own life, because no one was going to do it for me. That's something I had to learn to do for myself. And that's something that you get to do for you too. If you're in that place of wanting to look at yourself better, less angry, more caring, with more love. It's funny to say that as a guy, and sometimes I had to side note there. I was like, oh, that just came out so naturally. And I'm reflecting because, even 7 years ago, I might not have said that. But after getting this deep understanding of how releasing anger works, when you let go of anger and you let go of so many negative feelings, the only thing left to feel is happy and a certain level of love for people around you and for yourself. So again, let me know if this was helpful. And if you got any questions, please feel free to shout out. Let me know. Leave it in the comment section below. Have yourself a great day. Thanks again for listening.